Lessons from the Ants. A tale of perseverance and compassion. Once, a very unhappy man went to a wise sage and said, I am very unhappy with my life. I can't keep my wife and children happy, nor can I do anything for myself. Sometimes, I even think about ending my life. You do so much penance and meditation. Can you show me a way out of my misery? My life is in such a bad state that even arranging 2 meals a day has become difficult. Please, tell me a simple way that I can understand easily, because I am not very educated. If you talk about profound knowledge, I might not understand. Hearing this, the sage smiled and said, You can do one thing. Then the sage pointed towards a high hill and said, There is a temple on that hill, and near the temple, there is an anthill where thousands of ants live. It may sound strange, but these ants spoil the soil of the temple grounds, making it infertile so no trees or grass can grow there. I want you to go to that hill for 7 days and destroy the anthill whenever you see it near the temple, but remember, you must not kill any ants while doing this. The man, trying to understand, left the sage's place, though he was unsure why the sage wanted him to destroy the anthill and harm the ants. However, he decided to follow the sage's advice and went to the hill the next day. When he reached the hill, he saw many ants collecting food in an orderly manner, carrying small grains of food back to their anthill. The man's heart weakened. He thought about how hard these ants worked and how sad they would be if he destroyed their home. But remembering the sage's words, he began to destroy the anthill. The ants scattered, running to save their lives. Soon, the anthill was destroyed, and the ants were gone. The man, feeling guilty and sad, returned home, troubled and remorseful. That night, he thought about whether it was right for the sage to make him do this. He doubted whether the sage was truly wise or just making a fool of him. Nevertheless, he decided to continue the task and went back to the hill the next day. To his surprise, he found that the ants had rebuilt their anthill in the same place and were again collecting food. Seeing this, the man thought the ants were foolish for rebuilding their home in the same place, knowing it would be destroyed again. But he remembered the sage's instruction and began to destroy the anthill once more. Again, the ants scattered, and the anthill was destroyed. This time, he poured cold water over the area to prevent the ants from rebuilding and left for home. That night, as he lay in bed, he felt even more like a devil for constantly destroying the ants' homes. Yet, he resolved to continue his task and went back to the hill the following day. This time, he found that the ants had built their anthill a short distance away from the previous spot. Realizing that the sage knew the ants would keep rebuilding, he destroyed the new anthill as well, this time taking care not to harm any ants. The process took longer, but he succeeded in destroying the anthill without harming the ants. Feeling even more remorseful, he went home, determined not to harm the ants anymore. The next morning, he took some flour with him to feed the ants instead of destroying their home. Over the next few days, he continued to feed the ants, feeling compassionate towards them. After 7 days, the man returned to the sage and said, Forgive me, wise one. I tried to destroy the ants' home many times. I even harmed them once out of anger. But I couldn't bring myself to harm them anymore. Instead, I started feeding them. I know I didn't complete your task, and you may not give me the way out of my misery, but I feel what I did was right. The sage smiled and said, Sit down, my son. Have some water. The sage offered the man water and then asked, Tell me, why couldn't you destroy the ants' home? They are so small, and you are so big. Where is your strength and power? The man replied, A wise one, I did destroy their home many times. But each time, they rebuilt it. I harmed them once, but felt terrible about it. So, I started helping them instead. The sage said, This is the lesson to be learned. Even a tiny ant teaches us a valuable lesson about life. I didn't send you to destroy their home. I sent you to learn from them. What did you learn from the ants?" The man told the sage the entire story. The sage, smiling, said, The first lesson is perseverance. No matter how many times you destroyed their home, the ants never gave up. They kept rebuilding. In life, we humans often give up after facing failure once or twice. Some even consider ending their lives. But animals never give up on their lives, no matter how difficult things get. They always keep struggling for survival. The second lesson is about the nature of tough times. We often think bad times will never end, that they will ruin our lives forever. These thoughts are just illusions. If we keep trying, keep persevering, even nature will eventually be kind to us. You saw how you ended up helping the ants. Similarly, if you keep trying in your life, one day, life will reward you with everything you desire. So remember, never give up on your efforts and always keep working. One day, the fruits of your labor will come to you. I hope this story has taught you something valuable. And with that, the sage sent the man on his way, filled with new hope and determination.